Yeah! We are live! Hello, family and other NFL family. Happy Victory Monday. Let me just turn down the music here. I am joined by the Ramsaholic today. Ugh. How are you doing, man?
Doing great, Payo. Excited to be on, talk some Rams football after a victory, baby.
Absolutely.
Let's go.
Victory Monday. I love it. I love it. For those of you who are joining us, if you're a Rams fan, congratulations. It was a Victory Monday for you. You probably got a promotion at work. Your life is better. Your kids went to bed early. Your laundry did itself. The dirty dishes are clean now all of a sudden, and nothing else matters other than the Rams getting the dub. That being said, we're going to talk about this game here. Let me cut the music out here because I can't talk like that all game. But Ramsaholic, I know you've been doing this content thing for a while, doing some other networks, things like that. Really excited that you started your own channel. Definitely, anyone watching, you got to go check it out, especially if you're a Rams fan. Link to your channel is in the description below. But before we get into it, just let people know, what do you do on your channel? Tell us a little bit about yourself. What can people expect?
Yeah, so again, Payo, thank you for having me on. I've been a big fan for a few years now, so I'm excited. On my channel, I actually just started it last week. So I'm doing pre-shows, post-shows, breaking news, YouTube shorts, anything Rams. I'm going to be all about it. Keep everyone updated with content. You could subscribe to my YouTube, Ramsaholic, and you could also find me on X at Shay Tweeted at Ramsaholic. I'm pretty active there. Love to get into it with other fan bases when we play them during that week. I'm excited for football, and hopefully all of the Ramily is excited too after that game last night.
Oh, I don't know why you wouldn't be. The only Ramily, I think, are the people that thought we were tanking might be disappointed, but I don't think they still think that.
Well, they're fighting now.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, they're the people that are like, I told you, I knew they'd be good. I knew
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, I did want to start off. Okay, so obviously we're hyped about this win. We're going to talk about various aspects of this, like Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. We'll talk about the running back room. We'll talk about the rookie class. We'll talk about coaching. But I want to start off with, what were your thoughts pregame versus postgame? So, think back to before you knew what this team was going to do to the Seahawks yesterday. What were your thoughts going into the game in Seattle?
So I actually did a prediction video back in May. I had us at 10-7. This was one of the wins I had. Then I did a pre-show this week. Still had us winning. A lot of people sleeping on the Rams, but it makes no sense to me. This offensive line is greatly improved. I mean, we had injuries last year. So if you take a 5-12 record from last year and think that was going to transition into this season with a hurt Stafford last year with his back issues and him being healthy now, all training camp, and really think that was going to play a part in this game against Seattle, it absolutely wasn't going to. They barely beat us last year. The first win, they beat us on a game-winning drive at the end by Geno Smith, and then the horrendous calls week 18.
Right.
So I mean, we McVay is 9-5 versus Pete Carroll, and he's 17-4 in September. Like, the numbers were there. I didn't think we would win by 17 points. I had us winning 24-20, but yeah. I'll take that 17-point victory, especially with all the crap they were talking.
Absolutely. I know, for me, I was a little bit different. Just the way my mind works is, before the game, if anyone was watching my channel, I was like, I think we got a shot at winning this. I thought it was going to be a close game. I really thought this was going to be like a field goal game. And my mind was, well, we often play Seattle close. Like Seattle and LA, like the Rams, we've had a lot of close battles the past couple of years. And in Seattle, the Rams have played pretty well. So I was in the mindset of like, we don't know what this team is, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And even, I'll be honest, in the first half, if anyone was watching my watch party, I was kind of frustrated. I was like, okay, like, I don't know, we're losing 13-7. The missed field goals, the blocked field goal was annoying. And I was like, oh, this is going to be one of those classic, low scoring, kind of have to grind out the win if you're going to take it. But then the Rams came out, and on that first drive of the second half, it looked like a whole new team. Like something just clicked for the team, and it's so encouraging to see these young players get the opportunity to really prove themselves here. Yeah, like we'll get to some comments in just a sec. I see you guys coming on in. Feel free to give your comments and questions. We'll definitely shout you out. But what were your thoughts when we got into that second half and you see, Tutu is finally developing into the player we knew, we had hoped and wanted him to become. Puka Nacua living up to the draft hype. Even I don't know. We'll talk in detail, but like the running back room was kind of a surprise yesterday. But what are your thoughts?
So Puka, I've been on the Puka hype train since we drafted him, 5th round. The kid just plays hard. He has that Rams character to him, gritty, all about the team first. Not really a guy that's the most athletic, the fastest, kind of like Cooper Kupp when he was coming out of college, right? So, I mean, McVay knows how to find him and Steve. They know how to find these late round gems. I'm not shocked. Past videos I've talked about Puka, he's a guy that has the potential to get you 8 catches in a game, and he got 10. 15 targets. Then you got Tutu. I've been probably the lowest on him of most Rams fans, and for good reason. He's done nothing. And then this game, the first half, he was doing nothing again. We gave him a wide receiver handoff. He gets hit, almost fumbles it. Thank God it was it hit the ground.
Right.
But then in that second half, I had to delete a tweet that I put out saying, this guy's looking like a bust. What's going on?
Don't want receipt.
He looked great. He looked amazing. He looked fast. His route running looked great. If Tutu could keep this up with Puka playing the way he's playing, Van Jefferson doesn't have to be a 1. He doesn't really know how to be a number 1. And then Kupp coming back week 5, hopefully against the Eagles. I'm a happy camper with this wide receiver group.
Definitely. And it's exciting. I was nervous about Tutu heading into this game. My one optimism thought about Tutu has been, you know what? He was better his second year than he was his rookie year. There, we saw flashes of potential in there, but we're impatient as fans often. And then here in year 3, and again, it's only really one game and even one half of really solid football play from Tutu Atwell. But there's reason to believe that he can do that consistently. And so I'm excited for it. But let me get into a couple shout outs here. Johnny G in the house. We got Rudy, the Ramily Sports Report. He's here. Man, all these people celebrating Victory Monday, like Rams House here. Pablo, good to see you as always. Jack 42 coming through. Good to see you all. William, rocking LA. It's awesome. Awesome to see everybody here. Let's continue just talking through this here. So I have a couple of topics I want to touch on here. So something we got to talk about here is coaching. I know people love talking about the players, rightfully so. This was a game where Sean McVay, especially in that second half, and Raheem Morris, they put on a coaching clinic. And I think that Raheem Morris gets a lot of criticisms. I know, I've criticized him in the past. Other Ram fans have criticized him a lot. But what are your thoughts about the coaching job that went into this game? I mean, to go on the road and beat a division rival by 17 points and put 30 points on him, only allow 12 yards in the second half. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, McVay called a hell of a game plan. You knew right away what he wanted to do. He wanted to run that ball, even when it wasn't effective with Cam Akers having 29 yards on 22 carries. He wanted to run the ball. He wanted to tire out that defense, chew clock, set up the play action. And, I mean, the play calling was magnificent by McVay on this one. And what I really like, at the time I didn't like it with Mauer, our kicker, he was putting them out there in some tough situations, 58-yard attempts, 57-yard attempts. Like, I mean, he's like, all right, this guy missed 4 extra points last year in the playoffs. Let's see if he's over that. Let's put it all out there on the road, hostile environment. He let Mauer go out there and earn his roster spot, essentially. And Mauer did. So I don't think McVay did one thing bad. People were definitely criticizing the constant running of the ball. At times I found myself as well because the pass was just so awesome yesterday. Stafford looked like he had as much time as Jalen Hurts had last year for the Eagles. 5 seconds in the pocket. And if you give Stafford that much time, he's the best quarterback in football up there. I'd put him top 3 with that much time in the pocket.
He's an elite arm talent.
Yeah, McVay did amazing, and I think he knows everyone's down on this team, and he got his guys ready. And I think that this underdog mentality is going to carry us through the season, and it's going to be a glorious season for us.
Definitely. Like I remember hearing, like, Richard Sherman said the Rams were a bottom 5 roster, right? And so you hear stuff like that, and you're just like, come on, right? The only, I guess, questionable coaching thing, and I've even forgot about it, is when it was 1st and 30 and we ran it, and then it was 2nd and 30 and we ran it, and it's just like, come on, like, if we're gonna try, but it's because you win, you forget about those things.
He wanted to get in that on that drive. I felt the same way, but you can see what he was doing. He wanted to get more yards for the punter. He didn't want, because 1st and 30, you could definitely make a mistake. Stafford's done it with his back to the end zone before against Minnesota. I remember he threw like 3 picks in that place of the field. So I think he was playing safe. I think he had confidence in this defense, and whatever, it worked. So
definitely. And I see some people talking, talking in here, and we're going to talk about this next year, is Cam Akers and Kyren Williams. So I did not expect the backfield that we got. I think a lot of Ram fans, including myself, thought that Cam Akers would be in a featured back role based on how he finished last season. And I was okay with him in that role. What I'd love to see is that Kyren Williams played more snaps than Cam, even though Cam got more carries. But I don't know. It seemed like there was a game plan to this. Personally, I think this is going to be a week-to-week thing. I think this was a game script specifically for Seattle. I think we see a very different run game plan against the Niners next week. And I'm here for it. I'm okay for it. I know it's going to make fantasy football managers mad, but I don't care about that. I care about the Rams winning. So what were your thoughts on seeing the Rams' approach to the run game this game?
So I was completely surprised. I'm huge on Akers. I've seen 1,000 yards, 10+ touchdowns. Could still happen, but the way Kyren Williams played, 65% of the snaps, 2 touchdowns, pass blocking looked way better than Akers. He was actually finding the blitzer, picking up the guy, and he just looked elusive. I remember him in Notre Dame versus Clemson. I was like, wow, this kid's explosive. Didn't think he'd ever be a Ram. Didn't ever think he would be our RB1, but it's happening. And I mean, you make a great point. It's gonna week to week matchups. Akers seems to be more of the bulldozer. Kyren Williams is more elusive, shifty. And I think against a team like San Fran, you want that shifty guy that could catch out the backfield. So this could be another game where Kyren Williams sees 60, 70% of the snaps and Akers gets some goal line work. And Akers, really, he only had 2 good runs, 1 run for 12 yards and then the touchdown. That was a nice run. But other than that, he was getting hit in the backfield all day.
Definitely. And I will say this on that Akers touchdown. I loved it because I feel like if this was last year, Sean McVay is just going to take the field goal there. But he decided to give it to Akers, punch it in the end zone. And honestly, that's the point of the game where I felt like the Seahawks just got demoralized. And so I don't know. It was fun to watch. I got to give a shout out here. We got some people. We got Square Table Degenerates. Good to see you. Exotic Soy Sauce, always keeping it real. And MKI, he's loving it. Did you know this? That 87% of the people that play ESPN Pick'em pick the Seahawks to win this game, and MKI and myself are part, and you are part of the 13 percenters that pick the Rams to win this game. So we're feeling great.
Yes.
Oh man. One other thing that's, or the couple other things here. So I feel like Puka Nacua is the talk of the town. Rookie, we already talked a little bit about him. 5th round out of BYU. He did not look like a rookie, right? He looked like he belonged in the NFL. If you were just tuning in and you didn't follow the Rams offseason, you'd be like, oh, okay, that's just like a standard wide receiver that's going and having a game. He's getting 15 targets, 10 catches for 119 yards. Did you had mentioned that you were a believer in Puka, from the start, and I was definitely excited about him, but I was like, oh, okay, but like they're gonna ease him in. Did you see when he was listed going into the game day roster as wide receiver 3 on the depth chart? Did you see that kind of workload for Puka?
I honestly did. I think, well, what I felt was if he could earn it, they were going to give him a spot on that field. The Rams obviously run 3 wide receiver set like 75+% of the time. That hasn't changed. 1 tight end out there. Higbee, typically 91% of snaps played. But Puka played 78% of snaps, and he looked great.
Yeah.
He's making clutch catches on 3rd and 8 for us to put the game away. He got by Tariq Woolen on that one play. Stafford missed him by like a couple inches, man, and that would have been amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing I love about Puka, he's just one of the boys. He's a chill dude. He reminds me of like a surfer guy. Like, yeah, bro, totally, man. He's just relaxed, but he's a monster on that field. And I think his jersey this week is just really going to start selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I have the Robert Woods 17, and this is who he reminds me of. He reminds me of a Robert Woods, and Robert Woods, everyone knows he was goated for us. Like, every Rams fan has to love Robert Woods, and that's who I compare him to. He's a Robert Woods to me.
And it's funny. I feel like the moment he got drafted, he's been compared to Robert Woods, and I'm okay with that. Like, I have no problem if he can be, a wide receiver type or a Robert Woods type wide receiver. I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. But what were your thoughts on just Puka just in general? What would you like to see with him moving forward? Like I think where I've heard a lot of fantasy guru analysts today, they're like, we can't expect to see 15 targets to Puka Nacua each and every week. Like, do you think that we should continue that workload for him?
Absolutely. Let's say, Cooper Kupp's coming back week 5, then you start to wind down on that. But I think when Cooper Kupp is back, we still need to feed everybody. We cannot kill Cooper Kupp. So this might be a blessing in disguise, him getting hurt to start the season versus in the middle of the season, because now we got prepared. We had time. We had over a month, like 5-6 weeks now, knowing Cooper Kupp was hurt. Then he comes back, the hamstring acted up again. So these guys had time to really develop with Stafford. There was the rumors of Stafford doesn't know these guys' name, who they are. That didn't look the case yesterday. Stafford and Tua threw the most yards in the NFL yesterday. Clean pockets. Puka, I think, 15 targets for anybody week to week. Even Justin Jefferson is hard to do. But if he's going to keep doing what he did, we all know Matthew Stafford loves to find that alpha receiver in the offense. He did it with Calvin Johnson. He did it with Kenny Golladay. Did it with Cooper Kupp. And now Puka could be his next guy until Kupp is back, of course.
Totally. And I would even add, like, I'm okay if, so Van Jefferson, he had a quiet game. He had, one key 3rd down conversion. Okay, quiet day for Van. He parked the van. But let's start up that van next week against the Niners, and then we'll boot up, put the steam in the choo-choo train, and get that going. Like, I love if we can have a wide receiving core that's underrated and unexpected. I love it. I love it. I did a collab with a Seahawks fan, Joe Stevens, on Saturday, and I asked him if he knew who Puka Nakua was, and he's like, "No, I don't." And I'm
I've
like,
seen that.
I'm like, I hope that by the end of the game, you hate him, that you don't like him, like not as a person, but as a player. And I'm not much of a trash talker. I'll admit to it, but I will fully admit that I did message him after the game, and I said, "Hey, Joe, what do you think of Puka Nakua?" And he just replied back. He's like, "I hate it." Like,
Oh, hey, that's what he gets.
yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
He'll learn.
Yeah. So let's and again, thanks everyone for coming on in. Make sure you subscribe to Ramsaholic here. The link to his channel is in the description below. He's an up and coming Rams content creator. Really excited to see what content he's got coming out. But let's talk about okay. So we've talked about this game. We've talked about some things that we really liked. What are maybe some areas of concern? I feel like on Victory Monday, it's so easy to be like, the game was perfect, we won, things like that, and it's probably as close to a perfect second half as you could play. I'm sure you would have liked to see not settling for field goals as much, and keep the foot on the gas a little bit at the end there. But what are some of maybe areas of concerns, things that you would like to see the Rams continue to get better in throughout the season?
I think first has to be the edge. I love Michael Hoytch. He definitely played most of the game yesterday, but
Canadian.
he got caught up in coverage too often, at least in the first half more so. He was playing like a dime nickel, but he can't cover. I think edge and us getting pressure, sure, we got pressure towards the end. But that has to be something consistently we have to do, especially this week going up against Brock Purdy. Granted, he was a 7th-round pick, but he is their quarterback for a reason, and we cannot let him shred us apart. So we have to get pressure. Roseboom impressed me. I thought that would be a weak part of our linebacker core, but he played pretty well. I think he's Canadian as well. And then, I mean, that's just from yesterday. That's all I can take from it. I mean, just us getting more pressure.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to set that edge, because Kenneth Walker had a lot of big runs outside once they realized. I mean, it's the thing that happened last year when they seen Michael Hoych on the edge. Teams would just attack it because he's a big guy. He's usually an interior defender. We transition him to a D-end edge, but he's not fast laterally at all. So the cornerbacks are going to have to make tackles. And I think that's something they're going to notice on the film and adjust. But that's what I would say we need help for right now.
Yeah, and I'd very much agree with that. When we saw Hoyt in coverage on Metcalf the one play, you're like, oh, why is that? I as always, you'd like to see some penalties cleaned up, especially early in the game. You'd like to see just kind of that consistency there. I was really impressed. We haven't even talked about the O-line performance in this game. And I guess pass protection, phenomenal. I mean, we didn't give up a sack for Stafford was clean all day. But, would maybe like to see a little bit more of a, mull in the run game, open up some gaps for Williams and Akers there. But, yeah, like you said, really, I think the biggest concern is that, where's the pass rush at times? At the end of the game, it was definitely there. But seeing that consistently for sure. I do got a couple shout outs here before we get in. And again, if you're watching live with us, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to put a question or comment in the chat, and we'll take a look at them. I got to see here. We got Exotic Soy Sauce saying Hoyt locked up. We got INO coming in here. He's saying, ooh, if Chase Young is on the Chase Young is on the trading block, what do you think? Is that someone the Rams may make a move to get?
I won it. He didn't play yesterday, and he could miss some time. Guy's injury prone. I think if we go big, we're gonna go for Brian Burns again. But
okay. And honestly, I feel like this is just a year that the Rams aren't gonna they're content developing their own homegrown talent this year. And next year, when we have a lot of cap space and a lot of draft capital, that would be the year to really kind of make moves, to get those players. But we'll see. We'll see. Little Curry's in here. The Rams need to stop the run game a little. Yeah. I can see
to the outside. Yeah, to the outside. I mean, if you run up the middle on the Rams yesterday, they were cracking down. But obviously, like I mentioned, when teams bounced outside, Kenneth Walker, he was getting 5+ yards every time.
And I guess when going up against Christian McCaffrey next week, that's the concern, right? He can make his living on the outside if he bounces out there.
I hate CMC.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, definitely. Well, yeah. Anyway, those are the main things I kind of want to talk about in this game. Is there anything in particular that you want to talk about this game? I know we're hyped about it and moving forward, but yeah, what are your thoughts?
I mean, there's just a lot. I'd like to definitely point out the offensive line. They definitely deserve their flowers.
Mhm.
Everyone said, oh, even buddies of mine texting me, oh, you have no shot. Your offensive line is horrible. I was like, why? Because it was bad last year? We have none of those guys from last year. Those guys are not even on NFL rosters right now. Steve Avella, amazing yesterday. Alaric Jackson, great left tackle. Joe Noteboom is a guard. He plays guard so well. Shelton, our center, he's such a big guy. I love him over Brian Allen. And then Havenstein, I mean, you can't say anything wrong about that guy. This offensive line is amazing. Stafford is going to have time. This week against San Fran is going to be a lot harder than Seattle. But Seattle picked up some guys that were supposed to be improving. And then they got Bobby Wagner, right? Bobby Wagner was blitzing. But he looks slow. I'll be honest, I'm like, maybe as a Rams fan, I was a little delusional last year with him because a lot of people did tell me that. In coverage, he was bad and he's a little slower. And he looked it yesterday. And it felt good to beat him because he wants to play for a winning team. And then he goes to a team that gets blown out by a team he just left. So I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, and he picked the Rams last year, so I guess Wagner just does not know how to pick a team. Yeah.
He's a jinx. He might be a jinx now at this point. Past his prime.
I've seen a couple people in the chat talk about this, so we'll bring it up here. And again, I don't want to dwell too much on this because it's not fun. It's not exciting. I didn't like it at all. It was dirty. But yeah, DK. He's known as a player that can lose his cool pretty fast. But yeah, like what were your thoughts when DK took the cheap shot at Kella Witherspoon?
I mean, are we surprised with DK Metcalf? He did this with Ramsey so many times. Like, he's just a sore loser. He's a baby. When his team's losing, he wants to act up, be a tough guy. I'm a big muscular guy. I'm a big tough guy. Yeah, you're going to blindside hit Akella Witherspoon. Why? Because he was locking you up when you went on him. You only had one night. You did have a nice route on Darion Kendrick. I give you that. Congratulations, man. But you lost by 17. Hit the lab. Improve. Your wide receiver core was supposed to demolish this secondary. Right. You got Jackson Smith, Ngimbu, however you say his last name. You have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Will Dissly. All right, cool, man. But you guys did nothing. No receiver had 5 catches. Like, our wide receivers took over. And there was a rumor on Twitter saying DK didn't know any of the guys in our secondary. I still don't know how true that is because I didn't see video proof of it. But I'm sure he probably didn't know who Kobe Durant was, Darion Kendrick, Akilla Witherspoon. It's all right. Now you know who they are.
Yeah.
And he is a dirty player, but yeah, forget about him.
Well, and that's maybe something that we don't necessarily talk about is Tyler Lockett going out of that game in concussion protocol was a big blow for the Seahawks because he is like I am someone I believe Tyler Lockett is a better wide receiver than DK Metcalf. I think that Metcalf may like physically be more of a presence, but as like in terms of an actual like playing the position route runner, I think Lockett has better hands. And when Lockett gets the Seahawks offense going, that's scary. That's when the Seahawks are dangerous. Mm-hmm. And when he went out of that game, I guess you could maybe, if you were talking to a Seahawks fans, they would maybe say like, who on offense was that guy saying, "Hey, like we're still in this. Like let's get going." And with Lockett out of the game, that's where they just looked flat. They looked demoralized, and it gave the Rams the opportunity, which we're okay with, to just really suffocate that offense in the second half of that game.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do agree. I think Lockett is their deep threat, their overall best route runner. DK obviously gets the attention because his physique, his height, he's a big guy. But I would definitely say that. And to any of the Seahawks fans that think that would be an excuse, him and Cross, their left tackle, leaving the game, it doesn't matter. That game was not going to be close. We played well Cooper Kupp. Next man up. It's football.
Yep. No, and I think that's what you like to see, right? Cooper Kupp, arguably no, it's not even an argument. Our best player on offense, out for the game, and everybody was writing us off. You saw all the predictors on all the talking heads saying, yeah, the Seattle's going to win this game at home, and again, I'll include myself in this. I thought it was going to be close. I thought the Rams had a chance to win it. If you would have told me like an hour before the game started, oh yeah, the Rams are going to go in and drop 30 on them, and they're only going to score 13, I would have been like, oh, come on, like that's be a little too optimistic. But hey, what do I know?
Well, someone in the chat said they predicted 31-13. So, I don't know who it was. Oh, that guy, INO.
INO, yeah.
He said he predicted 31-13. So that guy is a genius.
You knew it. Yeah.
1 point off. I give you credit. I said 24-20.
So we'll just get into this here. Is okay. Let's talk about rest of season here, and we touched on the Niners a little bit, but now I feel like expectations on this team have risen, and I've seen a couple of Ram fans have this train of thought of, oh wow, this is a surprise, week 1 win, but they're still in the mindset of like 7, 8, 9 win team is what this team is. We play some good teams coming up, and again, the Niners are one of those good teams we're playing next week, and then we play the Bengals after that, who I think the Bengals looked bad yesterday, mainly because of weather and just some inconsistency. I still think they're a good team that we got to take serious on Monday Night Football. But personally, when I look at this team rest of season, I don't think it's crazy to compete for the NFC West title. I don't think it's crazy to compete for the playoffs. What are your thoughts? I know you said you predicted 10-7 going into it.
Yeah. So I'll stay with that 10-7. I think that's a great record for us, especially the over-under being 6.5. San Fran, I did have beaten us twice, unfortunately, but after the way we played this week, I think this game's going to be a lot closer. They still might edge us out. San Francisco's good. I hate them just as much as the next person.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is one of the best teams in the NFC and maybe in football. They were always missing a quarterback, so we'll see if Brock Purdy could be that guy, but he's looked good until he gets hurt. And then they would rely on Sam Darnold, which is what I'm hoping for. Hopefully that happens. I still think they go 12-5. We go 10-7. I think against the Bengals now, after seeing the way they played, it was raining. Burrow struggles against Cleveland in his career. But I think after both seeing the Rams and Cincy yesterday, Monday Night Football, I think we have a legit shot at beating them in an upset. Then, Colts will be an easy win. We'll play Arizona twice. That's a sweep. I think we'll sweep Seattle this year. Hopefully now we could split with San Fran. Then you have teams that look horrible like the Giants where we play them. The Commanders, we play them. That should be 2 wins. We have Saints. That could be tough. They have a good defense. And then you got the Eagles, the Cowboys. I still say 10-7. I'm not sure how it's going to fall at this point because I really hope we beat San Fran this week. Because if we beat San Fran this week, the media is going to put us top 10 in power rankings and say Rams in the Super Bowl. Can the Rams be a Super Bowl team? And I like it, but I kind of like the underdog position personally.
Yeah. Hey, like to me, I think the Niners are definitely under more pressure to win next week against the Rams, because if the Rams win next week, that means more than the Niners winning next week, right? The expectation is for the Niners to win. But if the Niners were to fall to 1-1 and the Rams were able to break this streak, and some might say we're due for a regular season win against the Niners, that would be really interesting. I'm really excited to see that possibility. I think they're going to play them tough. I really don't think that the Niners are going to treat the Rams like they treated the Steelers. I know that a lot of Niners fans are talking a lot of smack right now, and you know what? Kind of deservedly so. Their team does look really good. They just posted an amazing game against the Steelers, but the Rams, I don't know. I'm biased, obviously, but I think, yes, the Niners won in the East Coast, time zone on an away game against the Steelers, but kind of winning by 3 scores against a division rival in Seattle, which is not an easy place to get a win. I don't know. To me, I'll take that win. I'll take that win as the more impressive win. What do you think?
Yeah, I would for sure. Absolutely. That would definitely be the more impressive win. And I just feel good about this season, man. I felt good about it. That's why I'm saying 10-7, and I think that's very realistic. I know you brought up earlier the fans that said tank for Caleb Williams. It's like Stafford's still there, you know. Let's ride this out. You think Aaron Donald, Stafford, like you think these guys want to tank? You think Stafford's going to go out there and just say, "I'm going to tank. I'm going to give up my position for us to draft a young kid to develop"? No, I came here to win. He wants another Super Bowl.
Totally.
And it may not happen this year, but next year.
And even the fact that something I've never understood is Ram fans that would be okay that the Rams traded all the like Jared Goff and the first round picks to get Stafford for really one and barely a half a season.
Exactly.
Right? Like, granted, that one season, amazing. But yeah, like if you're going to trade that kind of draft capital, even for a quarterback in their 30s, you hope they're there for at least, I want to say, 4 or 5 years plus. You don't want it to be just a 1-year rental sort of thing, not like a Von Miller trade.
I know, seriously. And you're right. I mean, it is, if 2026 he's locked up till, so that would be 5-6 years. So I love Stafford, man. People just hate on the guy so much. But when he was a Lion, it seemed like he got the pity, like, oh, he plays for the Lions. Just like Goff now. It's just funny. Goff was so bad when he was with the Rams. Everyone, oh, Goff sucks. Goff's horrible. But then he goes to the Lions. Now everyone loves him. I think the people just hate the Los Angeles Rams. They didn't hate us when we were the St. Louis Rams. It must be an LA thing. Me and you aren't from LA, so we don't know, but
I'm sure that's definitely part of it. I also think there is a part of the like East Coast bias in the media that doesn't care about the Rams unless they're good, right? Like that's just the reality of it. And I think the Lions will always have that, like, oh, they're the Lions. They're that like constant underdog. Like they've been horrible for so long. They've had a terrible front office, and now that they actually, thanks, to the Rams, the same Brad Holmes was here first. They're finding some success. And I still stand by my take that the Lions' biggest weakness over the past, 30 plus years of their franchise history has been expectations. And they got a big win. And it's kind of sad to think one of your biggest wins ever was a week 1 non-conference game. And granted, it was against a good team defending Super Bowl champs, but like, that's how much success the Lions haven't had, right? And so Jared Goff is there, and maybe that's what Goff needed, to be somewhere where expectations were super low. And because he is a better than average quarterback than what people give him credit for, he's able to exceed those expectations and kind of paint him in that limelight that way.
Yeah, for sure.
We got Cool Bro in here saying, Do you think Puka is making his first TD next game against the Niners?
We're gonna have to throw against San Fran. Cooper Cup dominated them, so I think Puka can score for sure, and I'll take the over on 1 touchdown.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna agree with you, but I'm gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna say he gets it on a jet sweep to the left.
Ooh,
I'm calling
I
it Puka jet sweep to the left. That's his first TD of his career.
I've been waiting for that because I know in training camp I seen a lot of highlights of him doing that jet sweep, and then we did
Yeah,
it with Tutu, so
yeah. But we'll
I would
see.
dig it.
We'll see. Um, we got tons of awesome comments coming in here. Thanks everyone
I
for
know.
tuning on in. Oh, this is awesome. We got 32 awesome people in here. That's great. Make sure you subscribe to Ramsaholic. The link to his channel is in the description below. He's a great Rams content creator, great guy in general. This is our first collab, but definitely we're going to collab more in the future. So let's maybe just talk about that a little bit. Is why are you a Rams fan? How did you become one? And how long have you been a Rams fan?
So I've been a Rams fan since 2001.
Nice.
I moved to Massachusetts. I was playing at one of my buddy's house. We were playing NFL 2K with Randy Moss on the cover. I didn't watch NFL. So picking teams, I'm like, oh, who's this team? They were like in the high 90s. The Rams. I was like, all right, cool. Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Hall, Ricky Prohl, Marshall Faulk, stacked team. Leonard Little, the team was just loaded. Adam Archuleta, like the Rams were stacked. I was like, I'm sticking with them. Then boom, they make the Super Bowl that year versus the New England Patriots. And being from Massachusetts, everyone was a Patriot fan. And it was just since then, me and everyone in this city that I'm in, they know me. There's the Rams fan. There's the Rams fan. 2-0 versus you guys. It's all right, but I've rode with this team, even through the bad years where we won 1 game, then 2 games, then 3 games. But we've had some great players that I enjoyed, like Mark Bulger, Steven Jackson, one of my favorite running backs of all time. I loved Sam Bradford. Like when we drafted him, I went out, I got his jersey, super stoked. Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then injuries. And we traded him for Nick Foles. And if you're a Rams fan and you've been a Rams fan since like the early 2000s, I mean, obviously even before, but, and then you went through the mid 2000s to the early 2010s, and it was rough with Jeff Fisher, Steve Spagnuolo, who some people may not know, but that was our head coach. He's the DC in Kansas City, but he was horrible.
He's clearly a great defensive coordinator, but as a head coach, he was not the guy.
And Scott Linehan, and then Jeff Fisher, we kept him just to do the transition because he's good at transitioning from cities. He did it before with Houston and Tennessee. And then he transitioned us, and then McVay came. And McVay came and just saved every Rams fan's life in a way, because I was like, who's this 30-year-old? Are you kidding me, dude? What are we doing? He's going to be able to lead a team, and he's the best Rams coach of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, he's in that. If he's not already claimed that title, he's in the conversation for sure. And I've been meaning to do a video. There was a like social media mental health interview with him that got dropped on Sunday, and there's a part where he talks about how he wants to do coaching the rest of his life, and which I hadn't heard him talk about this way. And it was interesting because he doesn't actually talk about football that much in that interview. It was just like about like mental health and kind of what he went through last year. Just a little bit in his personal life and kind of a new perspective that he's kind of grown from, which was cool to hear. But yeah, Sean McVay as the Ram heads coach, there's no other coach in the NFL I'd rather have. And that's something that I think that the Rams just got disrespected throughout the offseason because we had so many injuries last year that like nobody could have won that many games with the O-line that we had, with the injuries at the receiver position, the injuries on the in the defensive backs. But seeing McVay come in here with this new crop of talent that the Rams have, and put on a coaching clinic yesterday. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree, and I tell people that 5-12, but we had a different offensive line every week. We had most offensive line injuries in the history of the NFL. That's the most important position. That's the guys that are going to block for you. That's the guys that are going to move the defensive line out of your way, get them on their ass. That's what you need. It's probably more just as important as a quarterback because the longer no lines together, the more continuity they have. You got to be able to read defensive lines, see what they're doing. Like Joseph Noteboom helped out Steve Avella on a few plays. I noticed when they were playing heavy to one side, you could see Noteboom read it, switch over, help him, double team, boom. Like we had no continuity, and we just lost Whitworth. Like Noteboom looked horrible week 1 against Von Miller, and we had the Super Bowl hangover. And the Eagles, they beat the Patriots, but I was not impressed. They were up 16-0 and almost blew that game. Patriots should have won, and that would have been pretty cool to have an NFC foe go 0-1. But
yeah, I am looking forward to seeing the Rams play the Eagles week 5. And at the end of the day, as exciting as I am for this game against the Seahawks, I am going to say it is week 1. Absolutely, like Victory Monday. We enjoy this. We're celebrating it. But we need to see more from this team. We need to see, what's going to happen, with this offense moving forward, this defense moving forward. But again, we were talked about earlier a little bit. There's so much optimism that just I feel like has skyrocketed among the Ramily, and I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Hey, yeah, and shout out to CG in the chat. One of the cool 49ers fans out there, man. Like, I got love for that dude. His content's awesome. He's a realistic 49er fan, so I definitely have been subscribed to his channel for a while now just to get some insight on the Niners.
Yeah, CG is awesome. He's passionate about his team for sure. I see Cool Bro is going to subscribe to your channel, which is awesome. And a friendly reminder that everyone watching should definitely subscribe to your channel. And guys, feel free to put in your questions, comments, and we'll react to them here, such as this one here. Cool Bro is your 70th subscriber. We're going to get you to 100.
Let's go. Let's go. I just started last Wednesday, man. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
heat up, fellas. Get in there, Ramily.
MKI says the Rams have more work to do against the Niners. Got to grind more teams. So I'm really hoping that we have the. Okay, this is my thing. This is going to sound maybe not like the most confident. I'm nervous that the Rams are good, and not the Rams teams, but more so just like my own fandom, is that we just go in and being like, okay, it's the Niners. We lose against the Niners. There's like this mental edge that Kyle Shanahan has over McVay. But what would you say it takes for the Rams to we're the home team, but we know Niners faithful are going to show up to this game just like they do. But what's it going to take for the Rams to get a win versus the Niners? Is it just limiting Brock Purdy? What are we going to do against that pass rush? What do you think?
It's going to take a complete effort by the team. We're going to have another clean game, no turnovers. You definitely don't want to turn the ball over against this team. And it's not going to be easy. And when you think about it, this is Kyle Shanahan's best San Francisco 49ers team on paper. And this is probably Sean McVay's worst Rams team on paper, right? So it would just be hilarious that happens, that McVay finally beats him in the regular season in what's been 4 years regular season games. But then in the playoffs, we know what happened. So that's what matters. I think Stafford's going to have to, have a clean pocket again. This defensive line looked Drake Jackson, Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, and Hargrave that they got from the Eagles. It's the best defensive line in football. So this offensive line, if they can, I don't think we're going to allow 0 sacks again, but for the most part, we could keep that pocket clean for Stafford. We have a high chance to win this game. The run game is going to have to get going. It's very hard to run up the B gap, C gap on this team. You have to bounce it out. DE gap outside, no dives. You don't really want to go up the middle on them linebackers. It's tough. And we have to play, smart football. Defensively, definitely have to get after Brock Purdy, get the pressure going, take CMC out the game. I think that our secondary could really hold their own. It looks like Raheem Morris isn't playing 15 yards off the line this year, so keep press. Brandon Ayuk is their best wide receiver. He showed it. Deebo Samuel's a gadget guy, but he does good against us. Then they have Kittle. It's not an easy team to beat. If we could keep this close, keep it close at the end, and then we get the ball with a chance to win, I like our odds. I'm not going to give a score prediction this week because maybe towards the end of the week, I just feel a little it's tough, man. It's tough to beat San Francisco. I had this as a loss in my prediction video, but after last week, like I mentioned earlier, I feel a little more confident, and I don't really want to predict them to beat us, so I'm just going to say let's hope we win.
Yeah, no, it's and I'll be honest with you, I'm picking the Rams to win mainly because I always pick the Rams to win. It's just sort of a philosophy of mine in my pick'em league. But I recognize the challenge that this is. The Niners looked good last week. There's a reason they were one of the most talked about teams in the offseason, even though their third string quarterback, probably got talked about way too much. But the Bosa contract leading up to the season was like the number one headline in sports talk. That being said, any time that there's a team that's just riding a little too high, I just find that's a great opportunity for a team to bring them back down to earth a little bit. And I think that's what happened against the Seahawks. And if we did it against the Niners, that'd be awesome. And starting the season 2-0 with 2 division wins, like you can't, like, if that happens, the Rams have to be considered the front runner, possibly the favorite to win the NFC West title, because those games, though they're at the beginning of the season, they count the same amount as the games at the end of the season do when it comes to the division race. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I agree, and I like how you picked them to win too. So let's go. Let's keep it going. Like you said, if we could be 2-0 in this division, beating the 2 teams that were supposed to be 1-2, a lot of people had San Fran 1, Seattle 2, and I've seen people think Seattle could have won this division. So, but now everyone's saying, "Oh, they're going to be horrible." It's like, keep the same energy. Why do you have to switch up?
Like, again, I remember like reading articles and seeing videos of people being like, "Are the Seahawks a dark horse Super Bowl contender?" And like, after week 1, it doesn't look like it.
No.
And that being said, again, it is week 1. Seattle could bounce back and still do it. Sure. Like, we're in the overreaction Monday hype, but I don't know. I'm really happy the Rams got the win in the fashion that they did, and I'm when we do play Seattle again later in the year, I'm here for it.
Oh yeah, and that's in our house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and quickly, Payo too. I just wanted to mention one thing about everyone always says, "Oh, San Francisco overtakes SoFi, Levi South, whatever," right? But then yesterday, Heinz Field, a diehard fan base, a home field of the best. It was 45% San Francisco fans, but no one said anything. There was so much red. And then when it happens this week, everyone's going to say something, but it's all right. Keep hating.
Well, is it? Have you been to SoFi yet?
Yeah, I went to opening night last year against the Bills.
Sweet. Oh, we just missed. Wait, were you at the Falcons game?
No, it was I know you went to the Falcons game.
That was an opening night. What am I talking about? Yeah, you went to the Bills game. Yeah, I went to the Falcons game. Oh, we just missed each other.
You went to the better game.
Well, you know what's funny is I wanted to go to the opener, but my work schedule didn't work. So then I went, and what I learned, I actually talked to a ton of Falcons fans there, and they were like, "Oh yeah, as soon as the schedule came out, like we booked time off work, like we made." Because it's a tourist destination, right? They were like, we planned our vacation around, adding in a game at SoFi. And that's something that like people don't get is SoFi, because it's in Los Angeles and really ridiculously close to LAX. It makes it an easy tourist destination. So if you're a Falcons fan, if you're a Niners fan, if you're, a fan of whatever team, you're like, oh, I'll take my week-long vacation, and either at the front of that vacation or at the end of that vacation, I'll put in a tour of SoFi Stadium. I'll put in, a Rams game and whoever they're playing. So the Rams, because of where they play, will always have that component to it. That being said, I think that the Rams fan base is growing in LA. I think it's, if you compare it to where it is now to when they moved back there in 2017, it's in a far better spot.
I agree 100%. And guys like me and you, we're going to help build this fan base as well. Keep
For sure.
promoting the Rams, putting out content, because people think that the Rams don't have the most greatest content creators or the most content creators. And there's guys like us, Jake Ellenbogen, like they're getting up there, man, and we're going to keep pushing it because we love the Rams.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of obvious, right? Like we're here doing this, we're doing content, checking on them every day.
Definitely. Oh man, like whenever something with the phone, with the Rams happens, my phone just lights up and I love it. It's great.
Me too.
It's really annoying when I'm in like a work meeting and my phone is buzzing and I'm like, something happened with the Rams. I have this meeting. I have to figure out what there. It's really annoying. Yeah.
Except for last week, it wasn't good news, but it's
yeah.
We're over it.
So everyone, we are going to end off the stream here, but appreciate y'all tuning on in here. But before we do, Ramsaholic, where can people find you?
So you could check out my YouTube, Ramsaholic. Make sure to subscribe. Like I mentioned, I just started last week. I've been doing content for a year now, but I was with other sports networks. But this will strictly be Los Angeles Rams. And I will start doing an NFL show where I'm going to talk about all the games coming up, just to bring in more fans as well, just to get some NFL stuff out there. And then on Twitter, X, @ShayTweeted, I'm always posting daily. I'm on there posting content, my thoughts, random thoughts about the Rams. It could be late at night and I'm like, oh, this popped in my head, and put it there. Try to put out the best information to the Rams fans. And then, this week is going to be hell. A lot of the 49ers fans and Rams fans are going to be colliding. So let's just make our fan base strong and let it at them.
Definitely. Well, this has been a Victory Monday episode of Ram Fans Talking Rams. Ramsaholic, stick around. We'll talk a little bit afterwards, but it's been a pleasure. Everyone watching, if you're a Rams fan, you are a winner. Happy Victory Monday. We will see you in the next video or the next live stream. As always, go Rams, horns up, and peace out. Let's go Rams. Yeah.